Hi everyone, welcome back to the Ministry of Guitar Collection Chronicles. And I think I always say this, but today we have another very special guitar. This is what I call behemoth, but it's really a PRS private stock 7 string. Um, and this is a very unique guitar. Of course, it's a one of a kind, like some private stocks are. But there's a story behind this guitar. There's a long, well, I wouldn't call it a courting period because it's not a person, but there's a long period between when I first saw this guitar and when I got this guitar. But first, let's get into the specs. So this is a custom 24 hardtail, as you can tell. It's got this hip shot like perhaps, but it's a very PRS design hardtail bridge. It's a 7 string. And straight off the bat, the most controversial feature about this guitar is the scale length. This is a 25-inch scale length guitar, which is very short for for 7 string, right? Usually you'd go minimum 25 and a half, 26 and a half is more standard these days. We'll get into how that works in a bit, but the short answer is very well. Other specs are this is a black limba body, beautiful body, lots of figure in the back as you can see. This is a burl maple top, as you can tell again. Beautiful. A lot of figuring on that burl. That burl maple top is matched by the back plates, so that's pretty cool. This has a marimba. I should look up the exact wood. Give me a second, I'll look up the wood. So my apologies. The wood is not marimba, that's the instrument. This is a hormigo neck, which is used to make marimbas. Very beautiful musical sounding neck. Snakewood fretboard, which has a little bit of dark figuring. I don't know if you can tell, very tight grain over there. And snakewood is one of the densest woods out there, so that's great. Matching snakewood buttons on the tuners, and what else? So it has Seymour Duncan's Alpha Omegas, the Mark Holcomb set for the pickups, and standard electronics, master volume, master tone, 5-way switch, custom 24 style, which is bridge pickup position 1, mixture of bridge pickup and neck pickup, single coil position 4, position 3, both pickups humbuckers. Position 4, both pickups as single coils. Position 1, neck. And that's the spec of the guitar. I've had this guitar for about a little more than a year now. But I first saw this guitar, I think, let me just check the date. Yes, I saw this guitar first in either end 2018 or early 2019. Definitely pre-pandemic. I saw it in Ishibashi in Tokyo. I think at their Ochanomizu outlet, when I walked up the stairs and this thing was staring at me in the face, and I was like, that has to be one of the most incredible looking guitars ever, because this is not a regular color. This is like a purple violet burst, blue burst really. It's entitled Blueberry Burst. That's what the dealer named it. That's what the certificate actually calls it. And it also comes with a purple case. You can see over there. That purple case belongs to this guitar. I've never seen a purple case and never seen a purple PRS case. And I don't think they make that anymore. So that's the other thing. It's got a matching case for the purple case for a purple guitar. So this is the true purple monster in that sense. And when I saw this guitar, I thought it was just looked amazing. And something about the PRS shape for me works better as a 7-string than a 6. And but at that time I was not a 7-string player. At that time it was priced like crazy because this was when the yen fell for the first time, so they priced it in yen, but the yen became stronger, so in US dollars they had some crazy number. Made no sense. So then a few 2 years later, actually, I think end 2021, this guitar was still not sold because it was just priced like crazy, like something like 15,000-16,000 US dollars, or more than that actually. So at that particular point in time, they started running a way to, they started reduce the price on this guitar. And in 2021, 2022, sorry, 2021, it's been 23 right now, is when the yen suddenly started depreciating a lot. And it reached a point where this guitar reached a range of what a regular new private stock costs, and then it kind of made sense. And that's when I got it. Anyways, I keep going frequently to Japan. At this particular point in time, I wasn't because of the pandemic, but I was very familiar with the shop, even with the guitar, since I had seen it, though I had not played it, which made me comfortable enough to pull the plug. Sorry, not pull the plug, pull the, what's the word for it? Anyways, forgotten, to go ahead. And yeah, it was very delightful getting this guitar. It's well documented on my channel, which I'll put the links here. For the first few days, I was really enjoying it, and it was just so easy to play for a 7 string. And that's when I thought it was 26 and a half, so I was very surprised by how easy it was for such a long scale guitar. And then later I realized it was not 26 and a half, it was 25, and I tried to tune it to drop G, and it was flubbier than I expected. And then I measured it, and then I realized there was nowhere that it said it was 26 and a half. I had just assumed it to be 26 and a half. So yeah, that was the story of that. So 1 year down the road, what do I think about this guitar? A few things I really like, a few things that are mixed bag. Things I really like are the playability for a 7 string. If you're transitioning from 6 to 7 string, this guitar is kind of perfect because it's so familiar, 25 in scale, a nice neck profile. It's like I would call it like, think of a 50s Les Paul neck, but on a 7 string body. Yeah, that's how it feels like. Of course, it's much wider, but it's less thick than a 50s Les Paul neck, but the overall impression has a similar kind of chunk in a good way. So it's very, very playable, even for a traditionalist who wants to play a 7 string. That's the good part about it. I do like the pickups. Like all guitars, different wood combinations, different neck combinations give some kind of unique sound. This is a low bellowing kind of a beast, which is why I called it Behemoth. It really has a very, very thick sound. Something to do with the woods, perhaps, something to do with the scale length, but it is a darkish guitar. And that's a very good complement to some other guitars that I have. Like I have this 8 string, which has bare knuckle Ragnaroks in it, which is a very bright guitar. It cuts. And this kind of occupies a little bit of a more MIDI range. So if you double track or quad track these two guitars together, it's a wall of sound covering all frequencies. So it works very well for my applications. And as you might have noticed in the intro, even the clean sound is very, very nice, particularly in position 4, where you get the two of these together. You get this beautiful kind of a almost acoustic-y kind of a sound, very good for playing ambient music. So that's what I like. I like the sound of this guitar. I like the playability. What I not, wouldn't be my favorite features are similar actually. So this is a 25 in scale guitar, which I tuned to drop A, as you can tell. And one of the consequences of that is that you would think that it would be flubby, it would feel very light. It doesn't. And this guitar's overall feel is relatively tense, as in you get a lot of tension. I don't know how it's done, but it doesn't feel like 25 in scale. You get a good amount of tension. So that's good if you're thinking about chaga chaga on the low string. The flip side of that is even the other strings, maybe it's the bridge design, I don't know what it is. The other strings feel tighter than what you would expect for 25 in scale. So even though I have another PRS 7 string, which is 26 and a half in scale, that one doesn't have a fixed bridge, it has a Floyd rose. I would argue that guitar and this guitar feel very similar in terms of the bendability of the strings, which is unusual because it's a much lower scale length, same size of strings, 10s and everything. So currently I have this on 59, 10 to 59s. I'm actually thinking of swapping out the 10s for like 9s, like a 9 to 46 or 9 to 42 set, and then a low 59, because that's how tight the guitar feels. I'm okay with it because I'm really used to all sorts of scale lengths. But I can imagine for somebody who is very used to, say, a Les Paul scale length and how that feels, would find this to have a little bit of tension. So that's the mixed bag about it. It's very manageable. It's actually good because I wouldn't want it to have a very loose feel, given that I do go to drop A on a 25-inch scale. So that's one thing to know about the guitar. The second thing is the guitar is a little bit dark. So that is depends on your taste. I think it's pretty good for like some sounds, right? Like if you're trying to get that some of those Slipknot like clean tones. It's like deep, bellowing, amazing clean tone, yet very clear on the neck. This is just a neck pickup. So it's just a sound preference. If you really like bright guitars, this guitar is not particularly bright. So that's just something to know. And that's it. So overall, very happy with this purchase. Very happy playing it. Very happy with the way it looks. I don't particularly care too much for the private stock appointments, like the inlays and stuff, but it is beautiful. And in fact, these birds, though they seem kind of just whitish, if you see it in real life, they have a kind of a pinkish tint which matches the color of the guitar really well. So those sort of details are nice. And of course, the build quality on this guitar is second to nothing. So when this guitar first came, I took it to my guitar tech and I basically took it for the usual stuff, right? I want to get like strap locks installed, and I'm not gonna. I mean, I know how to install strap locks, don't get me wrong, but I won't do it myself on such a rare guitar, one of one. So I get my tech to do it. And they were just examining the guitar on the bench and they were like, wow, this is like straight as a, like everything from a manufacturing perspective, because that guy's a luthier. It is as good as it gets, second to none. So there's that. Anyways, I hope this was fun. Till next time.